What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazik, aka Unique Mazik. I am the hardest working man in sports and gaming, and I'm talking to you today about MLB The Show 21's Stadium Creator feature. Sony San Diego Studios released a trailer unveiling this feature, and I gotta adjust my expectations for this. I was just happy to see that the show was bringing in the Stadium Creator after 5 to 7 years of me and other people pounding a drum trying to get this feature added to the game. So just seeing that it was coming was something that made me happy at first. But I've been, like I said, forced to adjust my expectations, and I'm looking at this now as more of a fully fleshed out feature than what I expected it to be originally. I was thinking we were going to get something that was pretty bare bones in the inaugural year, and maybe they would blow it out more in years 2 or 3. But from what I can tell from the trailer that was released, and you're seeing little clips of it now on the screen, they've gone to really try to deliver something that has some layers from the very beginning. Now, first and foremost, the feature is not going to be available on current gen. So if you're playing on PS4, Xbox One, you're not going to be able to have the Stadium Creator feature. So I know that's a bummer for a lot of people, but for me, it kind of makes sense, right? So we've been asking for Stadium Creator for years on PS4. They were unable or whatever, able to deliver the feature to the game. So it only makes sense to say that they weren't unable to deliver the Stadium Creator feature the way they wanted to because current gen consoles weren't capable of delivering it in the way that they felt, or Sony San Diego would feel, that would really drive it home. So if you bring it out now and you put it on the PS4 version as well as the PS5, the first question that's coming to my mind is, why did it take so long to add it to the PS4 version? This tells me that it could have been done years before now. Secondly, what then differentiates the two versions? Obviously there's going to be some other things that will probably be exclusive to next gen, but this is a pretty big feature. And if you're trying to say, hey, this is the next level version of this particular game, you got to have some things that are available only for next gen and not available for current gen. So that's kind of the way that I looked at it, and kind of the way you kind of get around that. But nonetheless, people who are still playing only on PS4 are going to feel some kind of way about this, of course. So the next thing to remember is that it is available in Diamond Dynasty and franchise mode. Now, I think everyone pretty much expected this to be included in franchise mode. It just has Stadium Creator has a franchise mode feel and concept to it. You could not have done this without having it available in franchise mode. Now, I do have some questions about that, but for this particular section of the video, I want to talk about Diamond Dynasty. There was questions as to whether or not it would be available in Diamond Dynasty, because people are going to create parks, of course, and they're going to have some wacky, crazy dimensions, and there are going to be some people who feel upset or have something to say about losing in a extreme pitchers park or an extreme hitters park where regular fly balls are home runs, if that's the case. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about what they could possibly do to kind of counteract that, but that was one thing that kind of, I won't say surprised me, but it was definitely a detail in regards to the Stadium Creator feature that I was waiting to see. Would it be available in Diamond Dynasty? I love that it is, because the coolest thing about, to me, for these collector modes like My Team and Ultimate Team and Diamond Dynasty, is when you are really able to customize your team with logos, uniforms, and what have you. I think that really makes it feel like a different kind of a mode. Unfortunately, Madden hasn't done that yet with Ultimate Team. There's very little customization you can do on that end. But NBA 2K, My Team does it, and now obviously Diamond Dynasty had it already with the uniform customizations and the logos. But now you're able to have your own park, so that takes it to another level, which I think is great. The next section is about the parks being shareable. Having shareable parks is a game changer. For real, I'm telling you. If you play MLB The Show, then and if you have ever grabbed any of the rosters and player creations that the MLB The Show creation community produces, then you know how valuable and how much extra play time you can get from getting somebody's really awesomely created roster or a group of fantastic created players by people like Son of Motown, rest in peace, people like Dr. Sublime and Riding Rosters and Black Magic, some of these fantastic creators who do really good players from the past and so on and so forth. Those guys have added hours upon hours of enjoyment for the game, and they actually, that group, or not that specific group but a similar group, is what helped bring full minors to MLB The Show last year. Even though it was imperfect, they helped kick the concept off. So now you're going to take it to a whole nother level, because now you're allowing people to create their own ballparks. So you're going to have some people that are going to rise up. They're going to be on that level when it comes to creating custom ballparks. And then maybe even some of the people who are really good at creating players, they're going to do that same thing, and they're going to start creating ballparks. Any way you look at it, we're talking about having a pretty healthy, unless there's some unknown restriction on this, a pretty healthy amount of parks to choose from fantasy stuff to people who are going to recreate old ballparks that are not in the game, which is what I'm really, really waiting for, and just some crazy over the top kind of stuff. I just can't wait to start looking at what people are creating and sharing it and using it and doing videos on it and writing articles about it and on Forbes, and it's just going to be really a great thing to kind of look at and see, just to see how that part of the community just really gets a chance to spread its wings in a way that it hasn't been able to before. Now, there are also multiple customization kits. So anything, according to the trailer, ranging from traditional ballparks and contemporary ballparks to something completely fantasy-like, is going to be there. You saw in the trailer, that looks like something that has like floating spacecraft. A park that looks to be like it's in the middle of a desert. There's another one that's like a dead ringer for the Field of Dreams, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other things. The trailer says there are 1,000 unique parts at a creator's disposal to use. I also saw that there's different textures for certain structures. You can make some things marble, some things wood, stone, and more. You're able to adjust the wall heights, the foul pole depth. You can add solar panels. I'm telling you, I did not expect to have this much available in the first year. Now, I hope this doesn't mean that they're not going to touch it again for 5 years, but for right now, to kick this thing off, this is great. This is really a great level of diversity and different things that they've added into this thing. I'm excited to get my hands on and seeing what you can do with it. As far as the online Diamond Dynasty games, let's turn it back to that. I am a little bit worried about what the restrictions are going to be, because there has to be some level of restrictions for online Diamond Dynasty games. There's no way in the world they're going to let people, maybe they will, but I think it would be a mistake if they let people play with foul poles that are like 200 feet down the lines and 470 feet to dead center. Just somebody makes a park that looks like a triangle or something like that. I think there's going to be some sort of restrictions if you're playing Diamond Dynasty. Now, what I would like to have is no restrictions at all for offline play. If I want to make a stadium for offline play in my own franchise mode or whatever that is just completely ridiculous, I would love to be able to do that. But if I'm planning on taking this park into Diamond Dynasty and playing in online modes, then it would have to meet a certain standard. Now, I still want to have some quirkiness available for that, but I still would like it to meet a certain standard. I think that's the best way to kind of satisfy everyone, so that you don't have the hardcore competitive player complaining about a feature that really is truly awesome, but their desire to win, which is understandable, is now not allowing them to even enjoy this feature because it's hindering their primary purpose for playing the game. So I'm hoping that there's some sensible restrictions there. Now, another thing that I want to bring up, which I didn't actually put in the article that I wrote about this originally, is I'm wondering how many parks are you going to be able to create, say in a franchise mode? is there going to be a restriction that says that you can only create a ballpark for the human team that you're controlling? Are you going to be able to control more than one human team? In MLB The Show 20, you could rebrand all the teams. You could control them all if you wanted to. That was fantastic. And I hope that that's what they allow again in 21. In extension to that, I would love to be able to create a unique ballpark for every single team in the league if I wanted to. Not to mention, which hasn't been announced as of yet, I would love to see if there's expansion in the league as well. I mean, if you're creating ballparks, it almost seems like you would have expansion in the league. Yeah, that just would seem like that would just go hand in hand. We don't have any confirmation of that as of yet, but that's something that I want to see, because that one restriction could really be I think it's like maybe the last monkey wrench that could be thrown in the stadium creator, is if you're limited to only creating one stadium per franchise mode, save, or experience. If I'm only allowed to have one team in the franchise mode that has a new stadium, then that's not going to work out. If they create some sort of ridiculous thing like Madden has, where you can create your own stadium but you don't get a chance to get into it until week 8 and all of that, yeah, they don't need all of that. Let's not just, we create a stadium, let's go ahead and let us play in it from the beginning. So it's going to be interesting to see when the final details come out. We do know a good amount about it already from the trailer, but there's still a few of those like kind of really intricate questions to still answer that only those of us who really plan to dive head first into this feature would even think to ask. So I can't wait to find out all of the details. Look for more videos on this and MLB The Show 21 in general moving forward. The game releases on April 20th for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One X, S, and Xbox Series X and S. It's a lot to say, but I appreciate you all watching. God bless and peace.